Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK Summer 2020. I'm Atlas, joined by the Valdanalist, and we're here for DAMWON versus KT. DAMWON, they had a bit of a rough one against Gen G, otherwise looking very strong, and finally, KT have picked themselves up a win. Whether this actually means they're going to look good is going to be the question. I think that the jungle has been an issue a little bit here for KT Rolsters.
Yeah, it definitely has, and the win that they took was against Hummel Life, which is not really a good, that doesn't really count for too many points in terms of the point bank of how many you get for defeating certain teams, whereas DWG have looked like one of the strongest teams this year. I mean, they are challenging some of the best teams that we have in the LCK, and I think, honestly, they should be the big favorites coming into this one. KT, they look like they're slowly ramping up, but I think it might be a little bit too slow to take this match. Maybe the second one, but we'll see what they can do today.
And also, as our points in the match are stating in that very first point, DWG did lose their momentum up against Gen G. They did look a little bit like they were tilted moving in towards the game number 3, at least halfway through. It looked like they had kind of switched off just a little bit. So let's see whether that mental has been turned around as well here up against KT. Because you're right, I think that DWG in the first week definitely looked like the strongest team in the LCK based on their performance, but wasn't necessarily against the top teams. So up against Gen G, they did falter. And whether that's going to be the same against KT is a dangerous situation. Because if KT win here, then, the top 5 looks a bit confusing as well.
Yeah.
Because we had DWG pretty solidified in that top 4 position. Does that mean KT is going to move up our rankings, or does it mean DWG's going to move down? As we have a look at the stats, is that first death percent? First dragon. First dragon,
yeah.
10th for DWG. They are real bad at getting dragons.
That's
but they
like,
love the Herald.
That's like really low 10th, too. That's not like, oh, they're right behind. 14% of the time.
Yeah.
It's like they almost ignore the dragon. The first one, at least. Right?
In their match against Gen G, it was very strange. They were straight up ignoring dragons. They gave away a whole bunch of souls and didn't necessarily work out in their favor. We've seen some teams, play for early to mid-game victories, and therefore the dragon doesn't feel as impactful because you can't get to that soul until you're down by 8,000 gold or something like that. I think an example is DRX, who do utilize that quite well, much to the brain ache of our friend LS.
Brain ache.
But this is going to be our DWG starting roster, no changes whatsoever. Not going to be subbing in Hoyt, or Nuclear, or Flame. And for those Flame fans out there, Flame is still registered as a substitute top laner for this team.
Yeah, I see him around. He's here with the team, and he's an older player that has a lot of experience, so I'm sure he acts as a good older brother and a good influence on the younger players. But Nuguri is playing so well that I doubt we'll see Flame even once this season, to be honest. And they're going to be going up against Smeb, who is starting. He's looking better. Bono, Kuro, aiming Tucson. So kind of your standard lineup for KT, what people were expecting to see straight out of the gate, which didn't exactly happen, but they finally got there eventually.
Yeah.
And this is going to be an interesting matchup, actually. Nuguri versus Smeb.
That's a lot of firsts. On Nuguri's side, damage percent, certainly absolutely out of control. The forward percentage is my favorite one. That's what truly identifies Nuguri. I want to see his isolated deaths, though.
Yeah, where's that?
That's got to be first.
He got like 2 or 3 in one game yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
Or not yesterday, a couple days ago. It's crazy to see a player that dies so much by himself to also have these insane stats and also be considered by a lot of people to be the best top laner in the LCK. It's a defining style that not a lot of top laners have, because most great top laners are usually pretty balanced, but are also fantastic at skirmishing and 1v1 play, which is what Nuguri does have, but he also doesn't really seem to have a break. The car,
no,
he's like a car with
no
brakes.
mini-map. He kind of looks like he doesn't have a mini-map.
He only goes forward.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's why it's so cool that his forward percentage is the highest in the league at the moment. Smeb on the other side, though, he is the one with all of the experience. I think it's kind of cool that we were talking about Flame. Would have been cool to see them facing off against each other. A bit of a blast from the past type matchup. course, Smeb with a career that goes for a very, very long while. But I think he's actually going to be one of the weak links on KT's side. And joining him in the weak link category will be Bono. But there's the gentleman on your screen. This guy is currently first on solo queue. Showmaker, of course, he is 99 points above the guy in second. And he is also the guy in third.
Yeah.
So he's doing pretty well in the old solo queue at the moment.
Yeah, you know, it's all right. He should have kept first and second for longer.
Yeah, he did. He had that beginning of the week, but unfortunately, you know...
Versus third account.
I think LCK starting was a problem.
Yeah,
so,
well...
The other guy got in his time. So the account that's in second, haven't actually identified it as anyone specific, but they play a lot of Echo. I'm wondering whether it's Knight's Korean account.
Could be.
But we don't know these things.
Yeah.
His Echo KDA is like 7 or something like that. It's like nuts.
Yeah.
Over like 60 games.
I mean, to be second place on the ladder in Korea is truly a feat that not many people can accomplish.
Unless
we're
you're
going to get to
Showmaker, you
pick
can accomplish it twice.
Yeah, you can get both, and you can get first as well. Showmaker, really, he's reaching for new heights in competitive play as well. And that's really the driving force of DAMWON. It's the 2 solo lanes that just are incredible players. They're really coming into their own and showing what they do have as
we're
here to pick ban.
Yeah, we are. So let's see what DAMWON decided to take away first. Fun fact for you guys, DAMWON have not lost a game on blue side yet. They've only lost 2 games so far. However, they were both red sides, and it was up against Gen G. So maybe it's a small sample size type stat, or maybe it's a sign that DAMWON are not going to be even able to lose this series, because the majority of the time they will be on the blue side.
Yeah. I like the respect towards Showmaker's Zoe. It's his favorite pick, and they're not going to let him have it. This is what I feel like should happen against BDD's Azir as well. Even on red side, where it can be hard to reach for bans. I mean, you got to take away Varus. You already lose 1 ban. And then you have to decide, you know, are we giving them the best 80 carries, or are we going to take away some of the best flex picks, or can we even target ban? And they decided to go for 1 target ban here in the Zoe. Notice the TF is also going to get taken off the board here, so they don't want to give Kuro TF either, as we get the big zoom in on Kuro there.
Yep, a little bit of attention to him. They are going to take away the Syndra from Showmaker and Ghost to a certain extent as well. Ghost has played 3 games of Senna so far. Has also played the Ziggs and has a game on the Syndra, so certainly is a worthwhile ban. But the Ezreal will be picked up. And are we once again back in the land of Ezreal's versus 200 years? We'll just have to find out. As this could be a Tucson pickup and a Pantheon Beryl denial, which I would very much like to see. But instead, Bono's going to lock away the troll.
Yeah, Trundle is very highly valued here by all the Korean teams. We always say it when it comes out really early. And Ezreal's pretty good against Trundle, just in general. So right off the bat, they're kind of saying, we just want Trundle because he's really good, not necessarily because we want him into Ezreal. The interesting thing is what they're going to go with here, and it is going to be 200 years up against Ezreal. It's kind of funny that Aphelios' name actually kind of changed into 200 years. It's pretty insane.
Let's see what DAMWON's going to do. They can actually lock away the Pantheon if they want to, but the Bard Ezreal is just fantastic.
I love
Big
it.
Bad Brad coming on in. We'll see whether Beryl is going to once again have a good performance on it. So far, he has played 3 games of Pantheon and 1 game of Bard, and he's looked brilliant on both of the picks. So let's see whether it's going to happen once again. This lane is just super good as well, as Nogari thinking about locking away his Jace, also a flex pick over to Showmaker, and a denial of Smeb. The doing 3 things at once type situation here from DAMWON, and I feel like Zephyr is on form today.
Yeah, that is one thing I have been noticing here. The drafts of DAMWON have improved. Like,
yeah, right.
Clearly they have. If you watch a lot of the games, you can even watch the games with LS in them and notice that he doesn't have a lot of complaints. That's generally, you know, a compliment coming from LS if he's not complaining about your draft. And he's just going to go ahead and pick up the Ornn, as Smeb is going to look to neutralize the Jace. I think that would have been absolutely one of the targets for DAMWON here in the second ban phase, so I kind of like it that they do take it out here early.
Yep, and then with the Trundle, of course, you can benefit from the Subjugate on the other side. Showmaker going to have his Corki banned away. This one makes a hell of a lot of sense. Showmaker's Corki is extraordinary. It's just really, really good.
More Showmaker targeting. I mean, he deserves it for sure. Absolutely. I wonder what they're going to use as their 4th Showmaker target. As I think Nautilus wouldn't be a bad ban here. Take away the 200 Years Under the Sea. That is going to be targeted. And
Reading
what
the script,
else?
my boy.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, Azir could also be banned. The Corki is sort of screaming out for a potential Azir pickup here for Kuro. You'd think ideally that KT would have wanted to lock in just like Azir Nautilus for their last 2 picks and have like the most standard possible Korean draft. Not going to happen though, because the Nautilus has already been banned, and there's the Nidalee to be taken away from Canyon. Canyon, legacy Nidalee player.
The Galio is still available. I wonder if maybe they want to deny that, but no, they're actually going to take Azir away from Kuro, and we all know that Kuro's not exactly the most decorated Azir player, but they're still going to they're still going to respect the power that is Azir, I suppose. It would have gone really well with the lineup that they do have, so I don't mind the ban either. And the Nidalee ban was cool too. It's really good into the Trundle. And I think we should have saw it in the last game for Clid, but he went for Lee Sin anyway. As Yuumi here for Tucson, gonna be just hopping on the back of aiming.
Makes it pretty scary as far as team fights are concerned. As, okay, I mean, Canyon was one of our Talia junglers. Haru definitely did leave a little bit to be desired with her taking more of a jungle route.
Might be mid too.
Move away from it. There's Set locked in. That looks like it's going to be solo lane Set as well. Oh no, that could be jungle. That's Fiddlesticks. All right, here we go.
Middle sticks.
Top sticks. Topple sticks.
We've been seeing a lot of middle sticks in other regions. We saw it a bit over in the LEC. And yeah, I think it's just going to be top Jace for Nuggery, and then you got the jungle Set. This is very interesting that he's blinding middle sticks, essentially. And again, you know, we could see also solo lane Set, depending on what comes out here. So they have some flexibility, as the Lulu is going to be the choice here for Kuro. So very interesting the way that the drafts are kind of evolving here at the LCK.
This is 100% a get behind the aiming draft, though. Literally all of KT's job is based on this Aphelios. As we're going to have a look at exactly where DAMWON do settle with this particular array of jungle and solo laners.
Okay.
The Set and the Fiddlesticks could certainly be swapped 5 seconds before they do have to have confirmation there. As it looks like it is going to be Showmaker piloting the Jace, and it is the Fiddle in the jungle.
Very interesting. I suppose they were looking for more magic damage from the jungle, and they decided on Fiddlesticks alongside with the bit that Ezreal obviously brings into your composition, alongside Bard, I suppose, in a small way. So this is not your standard LCK draft, guys, and this is part of the reason why they saw the Aphelios and the Trundle, and immediately they're like, we're just not going to play your game. I think the teams are finally beginning to learn how to play into Aphelios. They're drafting around it, and they're getting easy wins. And I really like DAMWON's draft here.
It's really, really cool. And actually, we were discussing the Fiddlesticks, LS and I think, last week, talking about whether he's going to find his way into competitive. On this particular patch, I think he copped a little bit of a nerf in the solo lanes. Not able to do as much bountiful harvest damage to those creeps, and is therefore going to be hit a little bit in that push power, but it doesn't matter in the jungle. There be monsters in there. And let's see how this one's going to go, as since the update, man, Fiddlesticks is just so scary.
He's
even
really
with
creepy.
this, like,
Look at his legs.
I know. Is he a scarecrow or is he a frog? Just don't know.
Hey, it looks like you know, there's like a lot of the ocean that we haven't explored yet. It's just too deep. It's like one of those new species that we, you know, find from time to time that just exists down in the deep depths of the ocean.
Yep. The deep, dark abyss.
He's probably friends with Nautilus.
Indeed.
Sad that Nautilus got banned.
I'm not.
No, he is. I'm not either. I mean,
Yeah,
I've seen enough of that Nautilus play.
Good old 200 years under the sea. Well, we are definitely just hanging out with the Christmas Fiddlesticks for a very, very long time as he plops down his control ward. Fiddlesticks just so incredibly healthy in the jungle. Don't need to worry about potions or anything like that. And that's why he's able to put that one down. As set top, we actually haven't seen this for a really long time. He's been support and jungle for the majority.
That's why when I saw the set, I'm like, there's no way that goes top, right? And Nuggery's going to play Jace, of course, right? And they proved me wrong with their flexibility. It's cool that they have players that are confident enough to play all these different kind of champions.
Yeah. It is a very bountiful harvest here, as you can see. Canyon picks up the Terrify as well. It's been a very long time since we saw the Fiddlesticks, and it was support played by Tucson, who is in fact in this game. How fantastic.
Yep. Up against a Thresh. I think I remember that game, actually, where we were seeing support Fiddlesticks every once in a while, but it kind of got crushed in that game. And we didn't see it much after that. In fact, we didn't see it at all for 500 days.
Yep.
Until now.
And even still, you know, it was a different Fiddlesticks. I feel like he's sort of changed and hasn't changed in a lot of ways. I think he still functions very similarly, but being able to AoE drain things certainly feels good. As Bono's just going to face check here. See what Canyon's going to do with his effigies as well this game. He's putting him in brushes.
Yeah. It's a good spot, just in case Trundle wanted to re-invade towards the red, as they might just do it anyway.
And take a cat with him as well.
I don't see any pings on this. There's no ward either.
Canyon just wanders on in there. Okay. Prowling projectile, not going to quite find Canyon.
Whoa.
Moves on over. That was an odd maneuver, but the Brambleback, he wants nothing to do with it. He's absolutely impatient. Showmaker dives on in. Smite used there by Bono, but he's going to have to flash to get away. Aiming doesn't find the Q, and it looks like it is going to be a successful red take here for DAMWON. Canyon just smiting that one on the way out. Double buff secured here by the DAMWON jungler.
Yeah, Showmaker quick on the rotation into the jungle, and that was pretty risky from KT. I mean, Fiddlesticks is not a jungler where you can just get on top of him and say, yeah, I'm just going to kill you now. I mean, he's got his drain. He is able to, survive for long enough, and it was a nice flash ignite stun from Beryl. It forced a lot of summoners out of the enemy side, got 3 of them away. The flash from Bono, and both of them from Tucson. So overall, a nice little win from DAMWON, as now Canyon has roamed all the way up to the top side.
Yeah, Smeb's also sitting at half health, which is not really what you want with the jungler hanging out up here. But he's going to build himself some stuff. Cloth armor comes in. As, Effigies standing vigil.
It's really
sure
scary.
No one's... He's so scary, man.
Look at his Effigies, like, so creepy.
I mean, when it comes to, like, nailing the theme, this 100% nails the theme, right? But
yeah.
I'm a little bit distracted with fear.
He's not going to see it. He might get scared. Imagine he went in there and flashed away.
We should be watching Smeb, see whether he gets a shock. He didn't get a shock.
Yeah, he looked really calm.
Yeah,
actually. He's not as scared as us. He's very brave.
I don't know. I'm not ashamed. Fear is normal. As Smeb is going to knock up Noguri. Noguri not going to take any turret aggro or anything like that. Just haymakers. The little on. What? Ghost's going to straight up miss a point-blank Q. That's a strategy in the bottom lane. I had another one.
Oh, Ghost.
The cat's pretty small.
True.
You know
Not as small as Vivian, though.
That's true. Yeah, my cat Vivian is the smallest cat in the world.
Yeah, confirmed.
Yep. I was actually very nervous when you got Charlie, because Charlie at one point in her life was smaller than Vivian.
True.
Thankfully now, that's getting close to not being true
anymore. It's probably similar now. She's a British short hair, so she's going to be pretty massive.
She is, actually.
Eventually.
Especially if you feed her too much.
She likes to eat, that's for sure.
She likes to eat human food as well, doesn't she?
She's kind of like what they call a In Korean, it's like a gaenyangi, which means like a dog cat, which is like a cat that kind of has a personality like a dog. That's kind of what like Charlie is like. She likes to play around.
Gaenyangi?
Gaenyangi, I think.
Oh, that's actually really cute.
Gay is the word for dog. And
yep, Goyangi is the word for cat.
Yeah. So you just combine the two. Very, very common.
Very, yeah, like Korea loves word fusion.
They do.
It's one of the reasons why I love this country is we're hiding behind the little LCK flag. Cheeky little control ward. Oh my goodness.
Almost didn't see him there. Andrew, the control ward.
Yep.
Hiding behind the flag.
Rip Andrew.
Didn't last very long.
You were a sneaky control ward.
Yeah.
As Canyon, he's part of the reason why DAMWON do have a pretty decent gold lead at the moment. Going to take away yet another Rift Scuttler. And there it is. Bono just eating some popcorn chicken. And I'd be scared, Bono. Get out. No, don't. Don't go near it. Effigy comes in. Snap's over here. He's going to get rid of the Blast Cone. And DAMWON are going to see whether they can do the Red Invade a little bit better than KT. And Bono says, well, no, not going in. He's still scared. Still scared of the old Fiddlesticks, who will just be delivered a leash on the enemy red. He's just owning this jungle right now.
Yeah, he's all over Bono. And although there is a lot of his jungle up and spawning here, he's still very far ahead by getting in his face and stealing a lot of the camps that are quite valuable, especially the Krug camp. Always lots of fun to steal away as a jungler. And there hasn't really been much else happening in this game, but as you pointed out, that's a big gap in the jungle in terms of CS, big gap in the top lane too, which, you know, Ornn is generally pretty good at handling aggressive matchups, such as, you know, a Set, a Jace, or anything like that.
Yep.
But Smeb has been struggling. He's behind 15 CS up in the top lane.
Bramble Vest completed though, so Smeb's probably going to have a slightly better time after that one's been picked up. That Empowered Shock Blast hurt a lot. I don't think that one tasted purple. Noguri relentlessly shoving, just trying to build up that forward percentage statistic, which is very healthy at this point in time. And 1,000 gold is going to be the gold lead. Effigy's placed. And now Shelly, see what she feels about this this Fiddlesticks, obviously not too deterred, as you can see. Prefers to deal with Noguri, though, as we're looking at it now. But it looks like just this absolute objective domination that Canyon's been doing this game is just going to continue. I'm not sure what it is that Bono's going to be able to adjust here to make sure that he can retain some relevance.
Bono,
maybe a dragon will help.
Yeah. I think absolutely you got to move over here when you lose the Rift Herald. At least trade objectives. You don't let the Fiddlesticks get both. Bono just looks a lot more comfortable on more aggressive junglers that have a lot of gank potential. But so far in this game, I mean, you can gank on the Trundle. He just hasn't really been finding great opportunities. Even with Nuguri, you know, right in the face of the turret the entire time. Showmaker just going to casually steal away Raptors.
Whoa, and Nuguri's going to casually take 3 turret shots. As he does. Grit's going to wear off. Zaming collects himself a true shot barrage. Noguri gets knocked up. This could be the start of Noguri's game here. Classically getting solo killed, but he is just going to flash. Gets himself out of the way. But that is still flash blown in a 1v1. Huge congrats to Smith.
Yeah, nice little trade. Nuguri is going to be punished there for going for that. And by the way, he's going for Blade of the Rune King here on the set. So it's not Black Cleaver, it's not Trinity Force. It's actually that less talked about third option when you are going up against a tank.
Yep.
And go for this, especially after the buff for melee. And I think Nuguri might get caught here. No flash.
He doesn't. He does have Showstopper. Double Face Breaker is fantastic, though, as he looks to go up against Smeb, but I have a feeling he's just going to die. Yeah, Haymaker's not going to be enough to keep him alive there, as Canyon's a little bit too late. Crowstorm is available, so if they do face check this brush, then Smeb's probably going to die. I don't know whether they're actually going to do that, as the observers are still keeping us in the dark. Oh my god, I'm so scared.
Okay, he's on vision.
Yeah, Smeb's gonna go home. There it is, terrified and drained. As there's a teleport coming in. This one's from Noguri as well, as Canyon does have a red buff. They managed to get the slowdown. Crowstorm was used as a very delayed flash.
Yeah, that had to be used first, I think. You know,
absolutely, yeah.
He did a really good job of showing that he didn't know, even though he did know, as he was on the turret, or on the ward rather. But it could have been played a bit better. I think they should have been able to secure that kill. Either way, the way that it played out, they're still able to get a great timing on the Rift Herald and give Nuguri a lot of that plate gold. And he's still around here. Gonna make sure it gets that second charge.
Will do so. Down below half health here is aiming. Let's take down this minion wave. Will push it on up towards Ghost, who does have his man immune complete. Still looking to pick up his Iceborne Gauntlet. Otherwise, not too much to talk about when it comes to the bottom side. Aiming and Tucson having a just fine time down there. Infinity Edge almost done. Let's have a look at Nuguri dying again.
Yeah, not much to say about this one. Just Nuguri doing Nuguri things. Too far down the lane. He has zero vision, by the way. No flash. And yeah, they can easily just angle it so he doesn't have an escape route with the ultimate either. So just immediately is going to go down. And it was nicely followed up there by Canyon up on the top side. It actually gets them pretty far ahead in terms of gold. You can see the gold difference down on the bottom side is over 1,000 already to Nuguri. And it's, again, the top side of the map for DAMWON. It's always going to be where they get ahead, and every single person in top, mid, and jungle is ahead and doing quite well. Even though there hasn't been too much action in the mid lane, the Jace is dominating that lane against the Lulu and has the most farm in the game. So Showmaker also doing his job.
Being Showmaker, as per usual, just farming better than most other players in the game. As Amy will find yet another Q on the barrel. Gonna get slowed down by the Gravitum. He has some delicious honey fruit there to eat. Beryl just does not seem too scared, but he probably should be. It's oh no! That's not the magical journey. As our Moonlight Vigil does land onto Beryl there, Showmaker not actually going to get into position as it's the Prowling Projectile that actually takes down the Bard. And that is just punished for a mechanical misplay. Noguri misses the Haymaker up top as well, and KT, despite the fact that they are close to being down 3,000 gold based on, you know, largely Canyon in the jungle, elsewhere, it looks like KT are getting themselves back into some sort of rhythm. And
that was
just being scary.
That was a very strange play, to be
yeah.
honest. He looked pretty uncomfortable on the Bard, which was weird because, as you mentioned, it is one of the picks that he has played here. It looks pretty good on. Smeb going for a very interesting teleport.
Yep. Ghost going to have to flash to get out of here. Bono's making his way in. As the Frozen Domain have that extra movement speed, but the effigies running away. KT now looking towards their Infernal Drake for their second dragon of the game. Could be pretty huge. Tempered Fate is going to land 2-for-1 Spectral on the Cat and onto aiming as Bono is going to go down first. Ghost landing some of the Qs as Canyon is going to go golden. That one only just came up. That is going to save his life there as now Kuro has to flash to get himself out of the way as well. Smeb to get out of the way, but in goes Showmaker with all that extra damage, and the Wild Growth has to be used to keep Smeb alive. Crucial Barrage gets shielded there by Kuro. Kuro actually being the medic for this team right now. As in the meantime, Canyon just takes away the Drake.
We've got them corralled.
Oh no.
So sad.
Well, that's the Crowstorm, but it's going to be cancelled. As Aiming's taking a lot of damage. Bountiful Harvest working out here as a Magical Journey gets him to safety. Showmaker with the punt back as Kuro's going to get taken down as well. Ghost cleans up the Aphelios, and that, guys, is basically an ace because Bono fell down earlier, but it's so early in the game that he's even back. Oh, as now Canyon, you're going to have to harvest that grot, my friend. As Ghost is chasing after a full health Trundle.
Yeah. And we'll have to see. I mean, this game is kind of all over the place in the way that the fights are taking place, but they just have so much burst damage and setup. The Bard was such a nice pick with this composition. We're going to have to watch this again. This is pretty sad for Beryl.
Yeah.
He's not a vision, and then he moves forward.
It's a bait.
And then it's like you're so far away, you don't have to rush it, okay? You can just go back in the back of the pit. It's almost like he just looked uncomfortable and was panicking a bit, because generally that kind of play should not happen. But then look at the setup with the Bard ultimate. That's why I love this champion in this composition. Aiming has to flash away. He's doing 0 damage the entire fight. He's zoned out. He's going up against a comp that has an immense amount of poke and keeps him at range. And Nuggery's teleport is awesome too, because it keeps them all under the turret. Had he just, teleported onto the control board there on the left side, they maybe would have been able to run back. But because he teleported so deep, they were all stuck under the turret, and it led to their eventual demise. Even though they did get Showmaker here, Aiming eventually picking it up. It did lead to, actually not 3, but 4 deaths, as I forgot about the small cat, but not as small as Bibian cat.
Sitting on the book.
Yeah.
I also got confused about a Crow Storm that actually happened far earlier in the fight and was not, in fact, cancelled at all. Of course, you need CC to do that, and I don't believe Gravitum was employed. And it was just Aiming that was dealing with it, so that was definitely not going to happen. So a little bit of a whoopsie. I'll apologize for that.
All good.
Actually I feel like the Crow Storm with this skin is not as obvious as well, because it's like the same color.
True.
It's a bit strange, but you can
like
see
light blue.
Yeah.
Fits in perfectly with the river. It's like, actually, am I getting hit or not? Is he Crow Starring? Who knows? And they pick up the Infernal, which, by the way, is awesome for their composition. So much poke damage, so much damage in general. They don't have a huge amount of scaling, but they're so far ahead in the mid-game, which is exactly where they're strong. So much lethality picked up here by the Jace, so he's hitting like a truck. Even the Set is getting a lot of damage items. We don't really need to talk too much about the Ezreal.
Yep. He does have his Mirror Mana transformation, though. Like, that Shock Blast, don't know how that even really hit, to be honest. Looked like it got past one, but still hit him.
Yeah, that was a little bit weird, to be honest. But yeah, imagine being Aphelios playing against this team. You're gonna hate your life, pretty much. It's not gonna be fun. And Jace is doing like true damage. It's like, just bopping you on the head, and then the follow-up is so clean, and if you don't have flash up, you can get Bard ulted at any time. So dangerous for Aphelios out there on the Rift right now.
And it's not even about him getting Bard ulted or anything like that. It's about what if his frontline gets Bard ulted and then it's just an Aphelios having to deal with Nuggery running at you.
A lot of options.
A really scary Fiddlesticks just diving in on top of you as well. Like, this DAMWON comp is certainly one that's able to counteract what is the Aphelios, and I'm just so happy that finally here in the LCK we figured out that Aphelios is not blindable. And there are ways to punish it, and DAMWON are the team that's showing us. So once again, shout out to Zephyr, maybe fixing things up just a little bit.
Yeah, Zephyr is one of them. We saw earlier Gen G were able to shut down double Aphelios from saw they won Prince from Hybrid, who played it twice and faced similar compositions. And it's nice to see in the LCK. I mean, a lot of the times, one of the weak points of the LCK is that they don't innovate too much, or they don't change. They're stuck in their ways, kind of. But in week 1, it was looking not great because Aphelios was winning every single game, playing against, Galio, Trundle, Horn every single game and just having a blast. But week 2, we see a totally different play style, as the teams have adapted very quickly. So it's nice to see. And yeah, DWG are just in a really massive lead here, 7,000 gold ahead. Gonna get another Ocean Drake, as that's the Jace for you. Showmaker having a fun time.
He is. Does a lot of damage to turrets. I do love the use of the Magical Journey as well. DWG able to get in and out of situations very comfortably. The first Ocean Drake of the game is going to go over to DWG, and I have a feeling that they're going to be able to get all of the rest of them that spawn, if they spawn, because maybe they just decide to win the game within the next 5 minutes. Instead of messing around, Aiming's going to join Bonner to try and grab Nuggery here, but it's all a bait. That's the tempered bait that's going to get rid of Aiming from this fight, as Nuggery keeps himself alive with the Haymaker once again. The Harvest is so bountiful here for Canyon, as True Shot Barrage almost manages to get the kill on the Troll, but it's in fact the Bard that just slaps him with that cosmic binding, I believe, unless it was the meep slap, which is my favorite way to kill someone. As there's over the wall, the classic Fiddlesticks maneuver, Crow storming everyone to death, and Showmaker there for the finish off as well. Tucson is now just a little cat. The calculation not so great there from Showmaker. The cool guy didn't look at the explosion, but the explosion didn't really happen either.
Yeah.
But looks like they're still going to be able to break open the base here at 21 minutes.
Yeah, we got Trundle coming up in 1 second, so I don't think they're going to be sticking around here. Some low-ish health bars up against a UV, so they're just going to take the inhibitor back away and continue their dominance here. See you later, says Bard. Gets his whole team over the wall. And yeah, they're doing a little bit of smacking them with their wallets. This is not a team that needs to dive turrets, but they did so much damage with their poking. They're like, oh, I guess we're just going to send the Fiddlesticks in there. And it did like the solo queue dream, right? It's like what every Fiddlesticks player dreams of, getting that big, like, 4 or 5 man Crow Storm.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Like,
yeah, just getting baited here by the set. And you can't really
it was a
afford
meep
that.
slap, yes.
Yeah. Feels good for Bard players around the world. As totally unseen, gets the good angle, catches 3 of them, and eventually flashes in for extra damage onto Smep.
One of the OG Crow Storm positions. Certainly has to look out for. Is aiming, hanging out with his little cat as Tempered Fate lands onto Kuro. Bono's still able to get in here, but Noguri seems to be going on the aggressive. Goodbye. Little Miss Lulu, not quite sure what happened. Bono gets his face broken, but there's the haymaker. Felios was there for a second. Then he's gone. Smeb has to flash to get the heck out of the way. This game is so over. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it's only 22.5 minutes in.
They're just going to try to end it now. TP's coming in, double TP. They're not scared to use their, everything
Summoner
they have.
spells.
Yeah, they're going to take everything out of the Mary Poppins pocketbook, the purse, and that's going to be the end of this one.
Yep. That's the call of the Forge God, but it's not going to be returned. That Ram did not want to come back. Nope. Going to wait until next game. That's good knockup, so that is going to be Canyon shut down. But the Nexus explodes, and our first Fiddlesticks here of the LCK is going to be a successful one by the most gigantic margin. As, DAMWON obliterated KT.
Yeah, they clapped him. 23 minutes, not even close. KT, kind of like a deer in the headlights eventually in that game. They were so far behind, even, 10, 15 minutes into the game, and a couple of very well-played team fights later. DAMWON just slapped him there. As thinking about who to give this player the game to, I feel like just have to give it to Canyon. There's nothing really else. If not him, I'd say like maybe the Bard for having a couple of good ultimates, but Canyon did a lot more, so I'm going to hand it over to him.
And also, if you're giving it to Beryl, he had the whoopsie magical journey.
True, I don't
wasn't quite as magical. Yeah, that's a
sad journey.
But definitely some pretty fantastic Jungle Fiddlesticks play. Looking forward to seeing what we get from him next, as Fiddlesticks isn't a new sort of flexible option that a lot of our teams can go towards. Certainly showing that, is pretty strong. Like our co-caster has already told us.
Yeah.
LS certainly a big fan of the old Fiddlesticks.
You know what I think is interesting, and I would love to pick LS's brain about it as well. I know that we've seen Trundle prioritize so much in the LCK. We've seen him first pick, we've seen him banned because they don't want to have, even on blue side, you ban them because they don't want to have it response picked. Even when you go like first pick Karma Ezreal, which doesn't really make sense. All these teams have his level so high that they ban him, they first pick him. But then now we're seeing so many counter picks come out and so many counter compositions come out against this kind of style that Trundle brings that he just looks really weak, over and over and over again. As you pointed out many times, if you see a Trundle, just pick a bunch of stuff that he can't really subjugate, and you take away a lot of his value. You pick a lot of stuff that has a lot of mobility, loses a lot of his value, and you can easily pick and counter pick around him. So I wonder if slowly but surely Trundle will fall in priority, or will they stubbornly continue to pick him very early?
I think it's going to take some time. I think it will take some time before our teams decide to steer away from the Trundle. I sort of do appreciate that the Trundle does sort of cut out a lot of a lot of options from your opposition.
Sure.
And that's what you sort of want to do in the draft phase. But yeah, as you can see, DAMWON smashed them. 23 minutes. Yeah.
They were like, we're going to play a Aphelios carry comp. And they just got smacked before 15 minutes.
Yeah.
They were just like, no, you can't just do that, you know?
No, and also,
not on life. Like,
but how are you supposed to play Aphelios against that comp anyway?
yeah.
The answer is you don't,
That's
and you
right.
lose in 23 minutes. So guys, we are speedrunning today's LCK. Let's see whether KT can fight back in game number 2 after the break.
야 봐도 돼.
에펠 다 있어, 스펠 다 있어.
아, 앞에 봐도 돼. 앞에 봐도 돼.
나 앞에.
앞에.
잡았고. 유미.
유미야.
앞으로. 오케이, 바로 가자, 바로. 자, 끝내만 거.
야, 바통 가던 거.
나 텔젠.
아, 끝내. 텔박아. 아, 캐니언 미들스틱.
난 앞으로만 가지.
아. 뭔가요?
무조건 타워. 난 앞으로 무지.
아,
잡아도 돼.
마인드 스킨.
콩닥. 나 죽여.
통작. 들어가.
아.
학원 형 들어가.
그만해.
학원 형 들어가.
오케이.
학원 형 들어가.
그만 좀 죽여, 우리 팀.